Hello everybody and welcome back to Rimworld Beta 18. Today we are catching up with a few of our colonists. We have three females in fact. We have Mila the therapist, we have Callie who is a writer, and we have Rogers. If you wish to look at a couple of their traits, I will show you their skills here. On Mila she is mainly obviously animals, growing and cooking. We of course have Callie over here, who is very passionate about cooking and melee, has okay skills but not absolutely amazing. Animals again quite high at 7. We have here for Albina, we have Albina. Miss Rogers, we have medicine level 11, quite high, and we have of course artistic. Now they're not absolutely amazing people, but we do have Green Thumb, a brawler and an optimist. We have an Iron Willed and Green Thumb, and also an optimist and a hard worker, so it's not too bad. Incapable of none on all three of them, which is something I very much wanted. And the ages are of course Milo is 32, Callie is 18 and Rogers is 51. Okay, so we currently have a few bedrooms here, but what I would like to do today is actually complete, in a sense, a layout, or at least a plan, a proper plan for the base, and a really good size, but not too big, not too small. One thing I actually have pretty much spent about an hour going into the game and actually doing several different layouts using, of course, the plan options, which basically it works like that. You know, you can do lines, you can do squares, you can then of course remove options like this, which I kind of mix between the both of doing like a square this way, excuse me, terrible square, and what I find is actually doing a square a lot better if I make the size for where the walls are. And then, of course, I take out the inside, which is where the space will be. That means the walls will be, of course, where the plan is, and that. But what I have done is I have actually currently made a save, a separate one, which is exactly like this. I haven't gone any further into the actual game. It's still, obviously, 10th of April, May, 5500. And if I go into the layout here, which actually is, it's just been on pause. I've pretty much spent, as I said, about maybe 45 minutes to an hour making a layout. I've drawn one up on a piece of paper to help me out now. I know to you guys this might look as an absolute mess. We are of course paused, and it is still the 10th of April, May 5500. I believe the time was right at 3 hours, so 3 in the morning of course as well. Currently outdoors is 20 degrees, nice and clear, and we of course are in the middle of night, which is why it is all dark. One thing I would like to say is usually I prefer to put the walls like this, which is where the plan is. The plan goes down where the walls are going to go, of course, and usually the empty space is where there's no construction, i.e. maybe furniture or floors, that kind of stuff. You know, work tables, that kind of thing. But on this one, because I would like to very much see where the paths are and not just see a load of just empty boxes, that might confuse me. Because what I actually tend to do when I have big giant empty boxes is I actually tend to mess around a little bit too much and get carried away by doing something like, if I want this to be my fridge, then of course I would mark that as an F. Now when you have several things dotted around as in letters, it's very difficult to actually plan, and then you kind of realise once you start going too far that you can't remember what this option was over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through this build right here. Now everything that you see as a 3x3 line like this, as well as the 2x2 here, is a corridor. So there are quite a few corridors, but I do have a lot of rooms, so to speak, as well as production rooms, storage rooms, power room. This is going to be up here. I have actually made space enough. Oh, and I just realized I left development mode on, which is what I needed to put that option down. This is of course on our extra save, which, let me just jump back in and show you again. We have a layout save and a normal save. The normal save, of course, doesn't have the geothermal generator down. The reason I don't have that down is because I only jumped into to see exactly how big that was. I wasn't sure if it was 5x5 or 6x6. I had to do development mode in order to actually place down one of, where is it, temperature? No, it's not temperature, it's power. One of these, and it is of course a 6x6. I'm not going to place it because that would be cheating, and I will be jumping back into this save probably, but what I should be doing is jumping into a layout, and I will show you that build, and then hopefully during the next episode we will of course build it. The issue we currently have is we don't have enough trees, which is why I'm making some there. It's not very many, but it's a few. Now, let's jump back into the layout save, of course. Yes, I know I have cheated by putting the geothermal generator there, but I'm not going to keep that save. It's purely for, shall I say, demonstration purposes. I will be deleting this save and then obviously doing this all again, but I needed to put that down in order to find out how big it was. And instead of making a new save and doing it that way, I just found it easier to just duplicate or save again, you know, into a different name, which is why it's called the layout. So this is of course 6x6. I will show you here. We have exactly 6x6, which is why I have marked out on here. I know it's a little off, but I will of course be talking you through this. This is pretty much going to be a wall around the base, which I will be doubling up and I will be moving out further. And the reason I've left space is because technically the walls are going in all of these gaps. So this is a double wall, single wall. This is our prison. So what I'm going to do now is I should probably just talk you through it. Let's remove that though, because that's going to annoy me. Ah, there we go. Okay. Let's double check that it's definitely a 6x6, right? Yeah, okay, there we go, 6x6. I'll just remove it again. Apologies for that, I had to just make sure that I got that correct. I may have moved it over the wrong way. So, let me talk you through where we have everything. So, at the bottom down here, we are starting off, of course, corridor, 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 and corridor, and they go all the way up to the top. Basically means that people can run, of course, all the way around if they wish. These are going to be the bedrooms. Now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms that are actually slightly larger. They're a 6x6 and these are a 5x6. The reason being is because this geothermal generator, I cannot of course move these vents somewhere else. They are stuck, and because we've set up our base here with our growing plots there, we've of course got this which we will deconstruct and redo. These bedrooms need to move down and make slightly bigger. These walls are okay. All these ones on the right, except this one, I'm going to get rid of that room up there. This room is fine, but I need to take it out by 1. All the way down here. This is going to be a room, and of course we have the 5x6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 there, and then of course we have the 6x6, 4 there, and we have the 5x6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it will work out 5 rooms, 5 rooms, 5 rooms, 5 rooms. So 20 rooms in total. Now I think that's going to be more than enough, but I would rather have more than we need than not enough, of course. Down here is going to be our prison. I'm going to make this a very little maybe a little storage area. I'm not quite sure, but I have, of course, left a little bit of room with a corridor to go through that all the way out as well. And I'm going to be blocking this in. This might become maybe a bit of power down here, possibly. Maybe over here as well, because we do have tons of geothermal. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them around our base. So to be honest, we may not. Once we get to these, once we've unlocked and researched them, we may not actually need any other kind of power. But until we get there, we of course do need power to get to that point. So, bedrooms in this big square area here. Prison down there. The reason I've left the prison down there is I will explain. But I'm going to go up and around this way. So what's going to happen is everyone's going to come out of their rooms. The doors are going to face inwards here. And because the bedrooms are so close and they're facing outwards to the corridor, these bedrooms will go outwards, so this is where the door will be, on the outside here. These doors will be on the walls here. And in the inside bedrooms, the doors, which will be our main colonists, we're going to start them off here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the people I like, or the people that may be greedy, possibly, will have, of course, the bigger rooms, because they will need them. I believe these rooms may actually give them a slight advantage. What's the term for? It's not a debuff. Rebuff, maybe? I'm unsure. A buff, maybe. A buffer kind of thing, where their mood increases, because it may actually get to the point where they're spacious enough. We will, of course, find out once we have done that. Do you know what? What I'm going to do is, while I'm explaining, I am, of course, going to cut down some trees. But probably not in this save, because as I mentioned, I'm not going to keep this, so I'm not going to cut down some trees. Very, very quickly, this episode is going to be just a demonstration of how I'm going to build the base. Corridors, bedrooms, prison, storage room. This is going to be, sorry, my apologies, that's going to be the hospital. It's going to be one big room where maybe I might partition it off into separate rooms. I might, of course, make it slightly bigger and make it go down here with a bit of a hospital as well for the prisoners. But again, I'm not sure yet. But that is going to be our main general hospital area, shall we say, medical bay. Straight Advance 2, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit more. Once they come out of their bedrooms, they're going to go straight up, and they're either going to go to our social room, and what I mean by social is our kitchen area, dining area, our fun area, that kind of thing. Now, it does seem a little bit small for me. Usually I like to make it a little bit bigger, which I may do, and move this area, which is our cooking area, and our fridge freezer. Now, of course, this is going to be double walled all the way around. I do need to move that up one. Just realised. Like that. To be honest, I think I might actually push that up. The reason being is because this is a bit of a random double wall area there, and as well as trying to get through, maybe I will increase that and just make this area a single wall, this bit a double wall, this bit maybe a single wall, and then of course we have a separate another wall there as well. So technically the freezer should be double walled in all the way around, and of course I will be doing a double wall here as well on the outside, and then leaving this all unroofed. The power side here will be all unroofed, and we have, as I mentioned, we have the so dining and social area, eating, that kind of thing. The cooking area for the, I believe it's hops, of course, butcher table and the stove. Fridge, freezer, of course, straight out into a corridor, which will probably be our main entrance to all the fruits, veggies, and all that kind of stuff down here, and then they'll go straight in. I don't know if I'm going to do a direct door into the freezer. I would like to keep the doors to a minimum to stop all the cold getting out. But over here, we have our main storage. Now, this is going to basically be like our textiles are going to be down here. Textiles being cloth and all that kind of stuff, which I believe, do we have any? I don't think we have any textiles. Yes, we do, right there. So, you know, ostrich leather, rat leather, and this was cougar skin. So all of our textiles are going to go down in this area. Other storage items are going to go in here that we need as an extra. I'm going to have all the chunks and slag, like steel slag chunks, and all the other chunks like this stuff is going to be in here. I may put them down here. I'm not quite sure yet, but one of these will be a storage room. Storage room 3 technically, so we have one here as a main. We'll have a storage room 2 over here, and we'll have a storage room 3. Now, the reason we're having several storages is because we may need to convert them into either production rooms or a specific kind of storage, like maybe have just silver and steel in one, for example. I know that's just randomly pulling that out of the bag, but you know what I mean. Here we have a production room number... Oh, no, sorry, my apologies. This is chunks, that's storage room 3. So one of them will be chunks and slag, one of them will be storage room 3. I may have to put the chunks here because this is going to be production 2, which is going to be all our smelting, maybe artist stuff, like, you know, sculpting, that kind of thing, because I, of course, would like all the chunks and stuff up here, the wood, steel, all that kind of stuff, basically out of the way of the base so it's not in the center. So anytime we're hauling it in, we don't have to run all the way in the center to put it into storage. I believe that's it. I will leave this space to expand for anything more, just in case, and we will, of course, do a double wall round. Now, I think that's everything that side covered. As I said, bedrooms, prison, hospital, coming up here to the social area, cooking area, freezer, hallway, of course, going to all of them, and up out of the main part towards the garden. We will have the storage room 1, production room 1, production room 2, and either storage and chunks or storage and chunks. Here we will, of course, which is nice and right next to the hospital, we will, of course, I believe, have our herbal medicine and any kind of medicine here, which means you can literally get it straight to the hospital just by up here. I may leave a different storage area somewhere down here for some more medicine, maybe a little bit there, but I believe it does need to stay slightly cold, so I would like to only have to keep 1 or 2 rooms cold. What else do we have? We have the weapons area, of course, which is going to be here, right next to the production, which I know it is a bit of a walk, but it's going to be very difficult without having tons of storage around the production room. That's generally the best option, is to have a main giant production room and storage rooms off each corner. Maybe, you know, if you can reach 5 or 6 different storage rooms off the main production room, that's great. The problem with that is that you then have all these storage rooms around your production, and any other rooms that you have are going to be outside of the storage rooms. And it basically kind of means, for me, your base revolves around the storage rooms, which I prefer to do it around the bedrooms and the social. Social being, dining area and playing, and everyone's chilling, partying, that kind of thing. We have weapons over here. We are going to have clothes up here. I believe we're going to have maybe fermenting barrels with beer, because it has to stay at a certain temperature. I believe it needs to be above, of course it needs to be above freezing, but I believe it has to be under 20 or under 30. I will have to double check on the... Can I do a fermenting barrel just now? Miscellaneous, where are you? I think I should be able to, because I'm in creative mode just now. Where are you? Temperature? No. Where are the... Ah, there you are. Barrel fermenting raw wort into beer. Now it says... Nope, it doesn't say it whatsoever here. Oh well, I'm going to have to get back onto that one, and when we get into actually crafting some beer, then of course I will tell you the correct temperatures. So we are on the weapons, clothes here, beer and wort, that kind of stuff, and the fermenting barrels, sorry, and the storage room too. As I mentioned earlier, we will of course have another geothermal generator up there. Power will be going here, and the reason I've made that nice and big is if I actually go into power and go into wind turbines, I can put one nicely there, and I can put one nicely there. I believe... No, I can't. Okay, I can literally only go either one there and one there, which will be enough, and I can probably put down a solar generator as well there and there, because as I said, all of the empty spaces are going to be walls, and all the coloured in options, squares, are going to be where it's space, as in each room is going to be a square, as well as each one of these lines are going to be a corridor. Now, I believe that is everything explained. Again, I'm not going to stay in this save because I believe it will be cheating, but what I'm going to do is, off screen, off camera, I am of course going to convert everything over to the other save. I may do a couple of other tweaks, but then in the next episode what we will do is we will start building it. And what I'm going to start with is moving the bedrooms down, getting this production and fridge area and everything like that, as well as this prison area, deleted, so to speak. We will hopefully keep all the blocks, as well as this floor we will keep as well, because that is... Can it tell me what floor it is? What floor are you? You're slate tile. So amazing, we're going to get some slate out of that, which I love slate because it looks beautiful. And what I think we might do is actually start mining a few things as well. We don't need any components. I believe we're okay on the steel. How are we doing on the steel? It should be up here. We are at 1090 for the steel. One thing we are absolutely desperate for, though, is wood, because we cannot build this without any wood. So what I'm going to do at first in the next episode is do a giant grown zone of trees. Now, I know it's going to be kind of annoying, but as you see here, every single one of these squares, if I actually do one very quickly just now and show you as a demonstration. Where are we again? Zone areas, that's it, growing zone. So you will see that every one of these squares could technically plant a normal plant, but the problem with trees is that they are so big that they actually need more than just one square to grow, which is extremely annoying, especially when you do a big giant growing zone like this, because you could probably reshuffle this a little bit better, i.e. move that one out here, move that one out here, and maybe move that down, and so on and so forth, and by then you may be able to fit in more trees. So what I think might be the best option is actually doing a line of trees, then a space, then another line of trees, then another line, and so on and so forth. So in a sense, kind of doing something like maybe that, leave a space, do that, because what I believe they need is a space, tree, because you've got two growing next to each other here with a space in between. So I think that may be a way to experiment next time. And of course we are going to get building on that. I'm going to delete these because those are really going to annoy me. You can do that by pressing Y as a shortcut. I'm going to keep these ones, but delete that. So that's going to stay there. Alright guys, well I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it's been informative, and you've gained a few tips, tricks and hints in order to progress, you know, have a more efficient base colony. If you guys have, of course, any hints, please mention them in the comments, because I do, of course, read them. I do take everything on board, and I do try and implement any suggestions that you guys have into my plays. Next episode on Rimworld, of course, as I've said, we were going to be moving the base a little bit around, and we're going to start building as well as getting a lot more wood. Hopefully the planting is looking okay though. We are at 71% grown, roughly 58 to 67. 94, the strawberries are pretty much done and can be harvested, which is probably a good option. The reason being is because I don't think we actually have any food. We have 9, that's it. So that's not too bad. So we have a few things to do next episode. I will do my best to note them all down so we can do that. And of course, in the actual next video I will be uploading, it will of course be Factorio. And then after that, we have Terratech and back to Rimworld. Guys, I hope you have a lovely evening, and thanks again for watching.